Remarkably, Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt is a beautifully crafted story about grief, healing, and the surprising friendships that can change a person's life. The novel weaves together the lives of three very different characters. Tova Sullivan, a grieving widow who works nights at an aquarium. Cameron Cassmore, a drifting young man searching for direction. And Marcellus, a highly intelligent giant Pacific octopus with a sharp wit and a knack for observation. Their stories intertwine in unexpected ways, creating a tale that is both heartwarming and deeply moving. Tova Sullivan is a 70-year-old woman who has spent the last 30 years living with an unbearable loss. Her only son, Eric, disappeared at 18 when his boat was found empty in Puget Sound. His body was never recovered, and the unanswered questions surrounding his disappearance have haunted Tova ever since. After the death of her husband, Will, Tova is left completely alone, with only her nightly cleaning job at the Sewell Bay Aquarium to keep her occupied. She takes pride in her work, polishing the glass tanks and mopping the floors with meticulous care. The quiet routine helps her push away the loneliness, but it doesn't erase the ache in her heart. Marcellus is a giant Pacific octopus who resides in one of the aquarium's tanks. Far more intelligent than anyone realizes, he spends his days observing the humans who visit, solving puzzles. He has figured out how to unlock his tank, and sneaking out at night to explore the aquarium. He has a particular fondness for Tova, who treats him with kindness and respect. Unlike the careless visitors who tap on his glass, Marcellus understands more than anyone gives him credit for, including the truth about what happened to Tova's son. But how can an octopus communicate such a thing? Meanwhile, Cameron Cassmore is a 30-year-old man who has never quite found his place in the world. After losing yet another dead-end job, he impulsively travels to Sewell Bay after discovering a box of old photographs that suggest his long-absent father might have lived there. Hoping to uncover his roots and maybe finally find some purpose, Cameron arrives in town with little more than a backpack and a vague plan. When he stumbles into a job at the aquarium, his path crosses with Tova's in a way that will change both of their lives. Tova, though initially wary of the disheveled young man, slowly warms to Cameron. There's something familiar about him that she can't quite place. As they work together, an unlikely friendship forms. Tova becomes something of a mentor to Cameron, offering him the stability and guidance he's never had. For the first time in years, she allows herself to care for someone again, though she doesn't realize just how deeply their lives are connected. Marcellus watches all of this unfold from his tank. He knows things about Eric's disappearance, things about Cameron's past, but his ability to share this knowledge is limited by his form. Still, he devises a plan. Using his cleverness, he begins leaving small clues for Tova, hoping she'll piece together the truth. Whether she'll understand his messages in time is another question. As the days pass, Tova faces a difficult decision. Her brother has been urging her to move to a retirement community, insisting she can't live alone forever. The thought of leaving the aquarium and Marcellus fills her with dread. At the same time, Cameron's search for his father leads him down a path that may bring him closer to Tova than either of them ever expected. As summer settles over Sewell Bay, the connections between Tova, Cameron, and Marcellus deepen in ways none of them could have anticipated. The second half of Shelby Van Pelt's remarkable novel peels back layers of grief and longing to reveal the redemptive power of unexpected bonds. Tova finds herself thinking more about retirement as her brother's pressure intensifies. Each evening, when she arrives at the aquarium, Marcellus greets her with unusual behavior, arranging shells in peculiar patterns, pressing certain objects against the glass of his tank. At first, she dismisses these as odd octopus antics, but when she discovers a locket identical to one Eric once owned wedged in the tank's filtration system, her hands begin to shake. Marcellus watches intently as she turns the tarnished piece in her wrinkled fingers, willing her to understand. Cameron's work at the aquarium becomes more than just a paycheck. Under Tova's quiet guidance, he discovers an unexpected work ethic and pride in maintaining the exhibits. His search for his father leads to frustrating dead ends until he stumbles upon an old maritime record at the library, a photo of young fishermen that includes both his supposed father and a familiar face he can't place. The discovery coincides with strange dreams about water and drowning that leave him gasping awake. The town's annual Seafest celebration brings everything to a head. As fireworks explode over the bay, Marcellus executes his boldest escape yet, squeezing through a maintenance hatch and making his way across the aquarium floor. Tova finds him in the staff lounge, his tentacles wrapped around a box of old employee records. When she pulls out a water-stained file marked with Eric's name, decades of carefully maintained composure crumble. Cameron arrives to find Tova sobbing on the floor, the octopus draped protectively over her lap. In the chaotic hours that follow, with Marcellus safely returned to his tank and Tova recovering at her kitchen table, the pieces finally connect. The photo Cameron found shows his father standing beside a young Eric Sullivan. As Tova examines Cameron's features with new understanding, she sees echoes of her lost son in the curve of his smile. Marcellus, back in his tank, observes the emotional reunion with satisfaction. His work is nearly done. In his final days, for giant Pacific octopuses live only about 4 years, he has accomplished what he set out to do. The truth about that stormy night 30 years ago, how Eric saved a drowning man, Cameron's father, before being swept away himself, no longer needs to be spoken aloud. The locket, the records, and Cameron's existence tell the story well enough. As autumn colors paint the trees around Sowell Bay, Tova makes her decision. She'll stay in her home, but she won't live alone. Cameron moves into her spare room, filling the house with music and laughter for the first time in decades. Together, they visit Eric's memorial at the harbor, where Cameron places the locket that once belonged to both their families. On the morning Marcellus passes peacefully in his tank, Tova is there to stroke his cooling skin. That afternoon, she and Cameron scatter his ashes in the same waters where Eric was lost and found. The current carries them out to sea as seabirds circle overhead, completing the circle that began so long ago. Remarkably, Bright Creatures closes with a quiet power that lingers long after the final page. Van Pelt's novel reminds us that healing often comes from the most unexpected places, whether through the persistence of a remarkable animal, the arrival of a lost soul searching for home, or the courage to finally face painful truths. In giving voice to the voiceless, quite literally, in Marcellus's witty asides, the story celebrates how even the briefest connections can alter lives forever. Tova's journey, from lonely widow to rediscovered grandmother, Cameron's transformation, from aimless drifter to rooted family member, and Marcellus's final, magnificent act of cross-species devotion create a tapestry of human and cephalopod experience that is by turns heartbreaking and uplifting. The novel's greatest achievement lies in making us believe completely in an octopus as both comic relief and unlikely hero, a remarkable creature indeed. In the end, the waters of Soul Bay still hold their secrets, but for Tova and Cameron, the important mysteries have been solved. As they walk home from the beach, shoulders brushing, the setting sun paints the waves in shades of gold, the color of second chances, of found family, and of the remarkable brightness that exists in all creatures, great and small. Thank you for watching the video. Please like,